We're ready. Hello. Once again, back to the Art Soundoff Challenge. Let me ask a question of the crowd. By crowd, I mean my fellow Art Soundoff creators, if any of you actually watch this. What are some of your favorite webcomics? Besides your own, of course. I mean, obviously yours is one of your favorite webcomics, unless you're your own worst critic or me. But are there any webcomics that you guys enjoy? Not just that you enjoy, but maybe have some kind of influence on your work? I can think of a bunch of them offhand. Either my current work or my future goals. For example, the works of Luke Foster, who right now his current comic is Patreon exclusive, but he's done stuff like The Center of Somewhere, Moon Freight 3, Drawn Away, which was actually a chronicle of his trip around the country, and another thing called The Gang from the Store, which was a short project that he did about his friends working at a comic store. And some of the art style I use in Jake and Leon. I went kind of my own way with something, but some of the basic idea is in part because of him. I guess part of it could also be The Simpsons. Part of it could be his outer space comic that I don't remember the name of offhand. I've lost track of it, but those kind of influenced what became the Jake and Leon style. And it was kind of interesting to have a comic that was about, in case of Moon Freight 3, was about a bunch of people working on a cargo station in space. And it wasn't like one of those, oh, look how awesome the future of space is. It's an average dude in the future, just happens to be in the future. Just like we're average people in the future to somebody who lived in the 1800s. So that's kind of a neat way to go about it. And Center of Somewhere was a sort of a slice of life comedy thing. Considering we live in a world with anthropomorphic birds, squirrels, and fish, but, and a 10-year-old detective. But that has some influence on my drawing style because it looked like something that would be fun to try out. I did it once just for the heck of it. Couldn't do it again for a while, and I think I talked about this in last year's Art Soundoff. I know I wrote about it back in the early days before the strip was started. I tried drawing something similar to that style, with those 3 influences, and it looked pretty good. And so I tried it again, and I couldn't get it to come out. And I kept doing it, and it wouldn't come out. So I went to bed. The next day, I tried it again, and it came out not quite the same, but it came out pretty darn good. I even made the character I was trying to draw, gave him a friend, and that was the precursor to what became Jake and Leon. So that was an influence there. As far as influences of things I might want to do in the future, Love and Capes is a good one. Love and Capes is a loveandcapes.com. He's also publishing books on his own, and IDW published 2 or 3 miniseries based on the strip. And it's kind of it's like a romantic comedy, just about a woman who finds out that her boyfriend is a superhero. He's the Crusader, who's like the big Superman type, most popular, beloved superhero on the planet. And about his friends and her friends, how they interact, how they don't interact, secret identities and everything. Some really good moments in it. I wish there was more stuff with them, seeing the heroes fight the bad guys, but that's not what his comic is about. It's about just the average life of a superhero. And I've seen other shows try to do this, and just not do a good job with it. The Supers is boring as heck. Thunderman's think I tried watching that once. I tried watching Harry Danger once. They didn't really interest me. Money Man was an interesting idea, but I didn't really follow up on it. But these kind of slight, but this succeeds where those other things didn't do as well or completely failed. Supers is boring as heck. Never watch the Supers, folks. Never watch the Supers. Coming out. But for them in the miniseries, there was one scene, one of the heroes gets killed, and you see the procedures that they go through to ensure that he's not going to be taken over by some quasi-evil demon force thing or whatever. Or you see, when you see the funeral, you see how they continue to hide his secret identity even when he passes away. Those really interesting things that they do. But it's also, you get to see the love between the Crusader and his wife, and you see what happens when they get pregnant, when she gets pregnant, and bodies, and he's got to live in her pregnant body for a while. It's kind of fun. It's really good shit. It's funny. It's touching. It's really good. Highly recommend checking it out. Something probably more closer to what I want, types of stories I want to write. In fact, one of the ideas that I've come up with over the many years of my existence, few similarities to this. So nice to see somebody actually put out a comic with the idea of a superhero who's part of some kind of Star Trek type federation. The comic's called Star Power, and it's about an astrology assistant on a scientific space station. One night, getting superpowers and becomes the last of these Star Power Sentinels, and she has to learn about the history of the Sentinels and battling all these different kinds of evils, and it's really fun. It's an all ages comic. It's not a kid's comic because there's death and violence and everything, but it's an all ages comic, so it's not like really bloody. Like one person gets this, it's kind of like off panel characters. One of the supporting cast gets beat up badly, and again that's off panel, but you do see her like in the hospital and things. So it's not like a kid's comic, but it is an all ages comic. You probably let some of your older kids, preteens and stuff read it, and you might enjoy it too. And it's a comic that knows when to be serious, knows when to be humorous. There are characters that you really like. Danica, who's the assistant who gains the star power, is kind of the people. All of them are kind of like people I'd want to hang out with. All the heroes, all their friends. They're all people I'd like to hang out with. They seem like very interesting people, and they really talk about world building. These guys, they kind of flesh out all the races and their histories and their connections to everything. And in between stories, they'll post these character profiles, species profiles, and they're pretty long thought out. There's a lot of world building that goes into the history of a species and what their culture is like and all that. And starpowercomic.com, recommended read. It's definitely a lot of fun. And there are other comics that I read too. Just going for our Art Soundoff patrons, I read Boulder and Fleet, which is about a polar bear and a bird who are in this semi-anthropomorphic world, and they're adventurers for hire, and they go around hired to battle bad guys and help people out. That's a fun comic. Sean Wong's Runners, which, and reading my website for long enough, have seen me discuss that comic on multiple occasions. It's probably my favorite webcomic right now, even though he's on a long hiatus doing other work. For smugglers, space smugglers in outer space, and they're slowly getting drawn into this upcoming war, gang war or something. And they're for a bunch of smugglers with questionable morals, they're all very likable characters. very enjoyable. runnersuniverse.com, check that out. I'm not sure what influence that may have on my work, but I'm sure it has some. And there's a lot more comics that I read that I enjoy. May not necessarily influence my work. I'll be talking this on my website tonight. I'll be talking about another such comic that I really enjoy, but it's not really one that would influence my work. So a little teaser for you there. I need something to drink. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm losing my mouth here. Okay. And a lot of the comics that I read, but these are the ones that I see as kind of influential to what I want to tell and the kind of characters I want to create, the kind of world building that I want to do, even though not only one of them is even superhero related. Sinuses. So these are some comics you can check that I recommend checking out. And there's a whole lot of other ones, including the ones that are being done by my fellow Art Soundoff contributors. And to find out more about Art Soundoff, check out the Twitter hashtag Art Soundoff, or go into leantoart.com/artsoundoff, and in case you consider joining us. And first, check out my articles, including the one that I'll be doing tonight, light.com. And I've got one more to do before the weekend, because I will not be doing the weekends. I'll only be doing the weekdays like I did last year. So I will see you tomorrow for the next installment. And until then,